from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 9.
Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. I'm Andrea Fujii. We are less than a minute away from saying goodbye to 2017 and hello to 2018 on the East Coast. Here's a live look at New York City, where hundreds of thousands of people have braved some extremely cold temperatures to watch the ball drop. At last check, it was 7 degrees at Times Square, but with the wind chill, it feels like a -7. Look at all those people braving the cold. Security is tighter than ever in the wake of recent terror attacks. The NYPD and law enforcement across the country are hoping for a safe start to 2018. The countdown is on. Let's watch and listen in. Happy New Year's, everybody. KCAL 9's Wendy Gillette joins us live from the festivities in New York. And Happy New Year to you, Wendy. How's it going over there?
Hey, good evening, Andrea. It's unbelievable out here. As you can see, the confetti is just flying everywhere. We actually have someone throwing confetti right next to us, so I keep getting it just everywhere. But as you can see, just an amazing scene. It always is every year. I've done this 5 years, and every year it's just amazing. You can see the crowd dancing there and people kissing, and it's just amazing.
And how's the security there right now, Wendy? Is everybody just kind of standing around and reveling there?
The security was incredibly tight. Now, where I am is a balcony, and all the people who came into the hotel were screened. Down below, no one new can come into Times Square. Everyone who is here had to spend the whole day here, and some people were getting here as early as 6:30 in the morning. They faced multiple screenings, and there were unprecedented measures this year to keep everyone safe, including snipers who are stationed at elevated points and actually aiming not just at the ground, but at vantage points, just to make sure there was no sort of attack like Las Vegas. And all of those security measures obviously paid off, because look, you just got a wonderful party here in New York City.
Yeah, we love to see all the people just waving at the cameras, dancing, kissing. What do people normally do? They just hang out there for a few more hours and then slowly take the subway home?
No one hangs out here at all. It's actually amazing, because right after midnight, in about 5-10 minutes, as soon as the music stops playing, which usually they play a couple of songs, everyone scatters like cockroaches. You have never seen a crowd leave a place so quickly as Times Square, especially tonight, because it is 10 degrees right now. -7 with a wind chill. So amazingly cold, and everyone just wants to get into a warm place. I had a lot of people tell me they can't feel their toes, so they just got to get warm.
Yeah, sounds kind of miserable out there, Wendy. And you're also saying that people couldn't even leave their spots. They had to get there hours prior and stay in one spot. They couldn't leave to eat or use the restroom.
Yes, that's right. They had to stay here because they already went through those multiple levels of screening, and that was part of the precautions that the NYPD took to keep everyone here safe. Unfortunately, yes, no bathrooms, and standing here for 12 hours, not an easy thing. I asked several people here, like, why do you do this? They said, well, it's my bucket list. I just always wanted to do it. And I said, will you do it again? Oh, no, never. Never, never, never.
One time is probably enough, but looks like everything worked out well. Everybody's having a great time, and Happy New Year to you, Wendy. You did a great job. Thank you so much.
Happy New Year!
Now she can party. Well, most of the world is already well into 2018. Here's a look at the celebrations as they happened across the globe. So many beautiful celebrations. And now for a live look at downtown LA, where people will be ringing in the new year in less than 3 hours. There's a big celebration at Grand Park, and our Crystal Cruz was there as the party was just getting started.
We are ready to dance ourselves into the new year 2018, just a few hours away, right up there, City Hall lit up, looking beautiful tonight. Now here's some video from earlier. Security will be super tight. 700 officers will work the party, expected to bring out thousands of party people, something like 50,000 people. We saw officers doing a pre-party sweep of the venue. Now security plans on keeping a close watch on the celebration that runs until 1 in the morning. Everyone and their bags will be checked at the entrance, making sure no weapons or alcohol brought into the venue.
So security is our #1 priority here at Grand Park and the Music Center's NYELA. We work all year long with all different kinds of law enforcement at all levels, state, city, county, and federal, to make sure that we have an integrated response. So people are going to be going through security checks when they come into the event, and they'll see law enforcement out in full force tonight.
And for those hungry, something like 50 food trucks are here, from chicken to rolling lobster to the queso truck. So let's go over here and have a look at some of the food that's expected to be out here. So bring your appetite. This is a free family event. Check this out right here. This is the queso truck with their bean dip. Look at some fresh tortillas right there. So all of this free tonight. Fireworks start at midnight. I'm Crystal Cruz from Grand Park. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Such a fun time. And thousands of Rose Parade viewers are already camped out along Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. Many arrived hours ago to ensure a good place to view the world-famous event. And many also celebrate the new year at the same time. Many come back year after year.
Everybody here is from all over the world, and everybody's so nice. We always meet new people.
And they say they enjoy the classic cars rolling along Colorado Boulevard, a big tradition of the Rose Parade. Bundling up is important, and those who've been out on the streets year after year know how to stay warm. Well, the floats are making the long journey from a warehouse in Irwindale to the Tournament of Roses Parade, and the site got jammed up today. KCAL 9 was over the scene. A parked car blocked the route at one point, and everything came to a stop as police searched for the vehicle's owner. 24 floats will spend 7 hours traveling 19 miles to their final destination for tomorrow's big day. A live look at Long Beach this evening. KCAL 9 meteorologist Amber Lee joins us now with a look at the New Year's forecast. And look at all those fireworks, Amber. Clear night for it, huh?
Yes, very nice night. We do have some patchy low clouds and fog, though, you can see off into the distance. But hey, we are just a few hours away until we celebrate our new year. But yeah, you can enjoy the fireworks. Out the door right now, temperatures are pretty mild, but we're starting to get into the chilly territory in some areas. So 44 degrees in Lancaster, 52 currently for Camarillo, 54 for downtown LA, 55 also for Santa Ana. If you are heading out to Pasadena, this is what it feels like right now. Temperatures in the upper 50s, partly cloudy. By midnight, we're looking at some lighter winds, 56. So in years past, the overnight campout for Pasadena was much colder than what we're dealing with here. So this is actually pretty good. And then by 8 a.m. when the Rose Parade starts, it's going to be about the same as midnight, 56 with partly cloudy skies. And then we're going to see temperatures warming up nicely into the 70s by tomorrow afternoon. Hour by hour forecast. If you're headed to Grand Park in downtown LA, just know that by midnight we're looking at a high of 53, and then by 2 a.m. 52 degrees. Not bad, still partly cloudy. And then here's a look at what the rest of the country looks like. So we are actually pretty good when you want to compare it to the rest of the cities here. We're looking at temperatures well below average here in Southern California. Again, very mild, 54 degrees. I'll have more details on what to expect as we head into 2018. Andrea, back to you.
All right, thanks, Amber. We sure are lucky, that's for sure. With cold weather shattering records across the country from the Midwest to the East Coast, these sub-zero temps have even the bravest canceling their plans on this New Year's Eve. The snowy roads led to a nasty chain reaction crash along a major West Michigan highway. Several cars ended up in ditches this afternoon. More than 24 cars were damaged. Slippery roads and whiteout conditions are to blame for the pileup. In Erie, Pennsylvania, work crews had to use a tarp on a crane to remove heavy snow from a roof of a Lowe's store. The city has been buried under more than 6 feet of lake-effect snow since Christmas Eve. Still ahead, North Korea issues a nuclear New Year's Eve message. And a discovery in a Houston hotel raises fears about another Las Vegas-style attack. The chilling find next. And New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago. President Trump issues his New Year's message for the American people. Officers make a chilling discovery at a Houston hotel. Police say a guest was drunk and belligerent, and they found an assault rifle, ammo, and other weapons when they questioned him in his room. He's charged with assault, but police initially feared a Vegas-style attack, but found the man only brought the guns to his room because he was worried they'd be stolen if he let them in his trunk. Well, no longer a threat, but a reality. That's what North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said about his nuclear forces today. Kim issued his annual New Year's Day address, and in it, he said the country had achieved the historic feat of completing its nuclear forces and added that he has a nuclear button on his desk. The customary New Year's address was broadcast Monday morning on North Korean state TV. President Trump took to Twitter today to tell Americans Happy New Year. He tweeted, "As our country rapidly grows stronger and smarter, I want to wish all of my friends, supporters, enemies, haters, and even the very dishonest fake news media a happy and healthy new year. 2018 will be a great year for America." Correspondent Chip Reed is traveling with the president in Florida.
To say that President Trump loves the game of golf would be an understatement. With today's trip to the Trump International Golf Club, he has been there 8 of the past 9 days. The only exception was Christmas. That despite his past harsh criticism of President Obama for golfing too much.
Obama ought to get off the golf course.
Mr. Trump has now visited golf courses more than 90 times as president. At the same point in his presidency, Mr. Obama had played fewer than 30 times. But the president also appears to be closely following the news, including the mass protests in Iran against its leaders. In a tweet, the president said, "The people are finally getting wise as to how their money and wealth is being stolen and squandered on terrorism. The USA is watching very closely for human rights violations." The president is also keeping up on politics. The lead story in today's Los Angeles Times says Republicans are facing a Democratic wave in the November 2018 elections, largely driven by President Trump's widespread unpopularity. This morning, the president tweeted, "Why would smart voters want to put Democrats in Congress in 2018 election when their policies will totally kill the great wealth created during the months since the election?"
President Trump celebrated New Year's Eve with his friends and family at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner and their children, Eric Trump and his wife Laura, and Donald Trump Jr. were among the family members spotted on the red carpet. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and his wife were also in attendance. Of course, the guests of honor, President Trump and the First Lady, were there. Everyone had their phones out to get a picture of the first family. President Trump is expected to return to the White House tomorrow. Still ahead here at 9.
It really is just a humbling experience. It puts everything in perspective. It puts life in perspective.
A secret grove of giant trees in Northern California has become a social media sensation. But now the health of these trees is under threat. What's being done to protect them? And preparing for the pot rush. We'll go inside the first shop to get a state license to sell recreational marijuana. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti paid a visit to an LAPD officer shot in the line of duty 2 nights ago. In an Instagram message, he said he was proud of Joy Park. The mayor says she is expected to recover fully and can't wait to get back on her feet. Park and her partner were ambushed in the Westlake district. She was hit in the thigh. Park recently graduated from the LAPD Academy and was with her training officer at the time. A suspect was arrested at the scene, and police say they have recovered a gun. We keep showing all these snowy pictures all along the East Coast and the Midwest. Here, we're kind of bundling up for the overnight temperatures. Cold for Southern California standards.
Exactly. It's going to be a little chilly for us everywhere else, across the country by the end of the week. Andrea, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Amber. Next, Apple delivers early on a promise to customers after admitting to purposely slowing down phones. Apple is trying to make amends to anyone with an iPhone 6 or later model. It's now offering $29 replacement batteries immediately. The move comes after it was discovered that Apple was intentionally slowing down older iPhones. The company said it did that to prevent sudden battery shutdowns, but many customers said it was Apple's attempt to get people to upgrade to newer iPhones. There are now 2 lottery jackpots worth more than $300 million each. The Powerball drawing happened last night and nobody won that jackpot. The current jackpot is $440 million. The next drawing is Wednesday. And there's Mega Millions. No winner from that drawing either. That jackpot is now $343 million. The next drawing is Tuesday, so good luck. New state laws take effect tomorrow. We'll tell you what will be different in California. And preparing for the pot rush. We'll go inside the first shop to get a state license to sell recreational marijuana.
Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 9.
Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. I'm Peter Dowd. Starting tomorrow, the sale of recreational marijuana becomes legal in California, and it promises to be a cash crop. State and local governments could collect $1 billion a year in tax revenue, but the pot business is running into some roadblocks. Here's Carter Evans.
As holder of the very first state license to sell recreational marijuana, Torrey Holistics, a medical pot shop in San Diego, is scrambling to implement a host of new rules and regulations so it can sell to the public by New Year's Day.
So you've had to create new packaging.
We did. Our packaging is completely changing so that it is not see-through.
Marketing Director Ruthie Edelson is also preparing for product changes and new dosing requirements for marijuana's active ingredient, THC.
Something like this has 100 milligrams in the whole packaging.
So that should fit within the rules.
But it doesn't, because each piece needs to be 10 milligrams or less.
Smoking marijuana is off limits in restaurants, bars, and most public areas, and unless your landlord approves, you may not even be able to smoke it in your apartment. Some local governments are banning pot shops entirely. Others are still working out the legal details.
Los Angeles is the largest city in the country to allow sales of recreational marijuana. But come January 1st, the general public will not be able to come into medical shops like this and buy it.
Lori Ajax runs the California Bureau of Cannabis Control.
It's going to take a while for these businesses to get up and running, but we're also asking people to be patient.
California Highway Patrol officers are also bracing for legal pot, so they're getting the word out that smoking marijuana and driving is illegal.
But did you know that smoking a joint can get you a DUI?
Authorities expect to see an increase in cannabis-related crashes, just like other states where the drug is legal.
If you can buy a drink or buy a joint, you can also afford a Lyft, an Uber, a taxi.
Carter Evans, Los Angeles.
On January 1st, the state's minimum wage will rise to $10.50 for small businesses and $11 for larger employers. It's the first step toward boosting the hourly minimum wage to $15 by 2022, but a nonprofit thinks that the extra pay will lead to a loss of about 400,000 jobs in retail, hospitality, and food services. Of course, New Year's means new laws here in California. KCAL 9's Lori Perez breaks them down.
Transgender people are celebrating what some call a practical and principled victory. Under Senate Bill 179, transgender people don't need to prove they've had clinical treatment before applying with the state to change their gender on their birth certificates. It also adds a non-binary option, so starting in 2019, people who don't identify as either male or female don't have to choose on their driver's license.
It's the right thing to do. Why force people to live and have government documents represent them in an inauthentic way and in a way that they're not living their lives.
At Burbank Ammo and Guns, owner David Schwartz says they're being flooded with questions about new restrictions on buying ammunition.
You can still go to any of your local pre-existing gun shops and buy your ammunition.
But if you're like many who shop online, Schwartz says new regulations will change the way you buy ammo in 2 key ways.
The main part of the ammunition law that starts on January 1st, 2018 requires that all ammo transactions take place within a licensed California dealer. However, the background part of the California new ammunition laws don't come into effect until July 1st, 2019.
Lawmakers are giving graduating high school students some relief in the new year. They will no longer have to take an exit exam, testing their math and English skills in order to get a diploma. As you can imagine, it's one law teens are happy to hear about.
It's just one less thing to worry about, honestly. So, I mean, I can focus on college apps now instead of all the other tests that I have to take.
And from the file of new laws that change old laws you might not have known existed, with Assembly Bill 390, you will no longer be penalized for starting to cross the street when the red hand signal is flashing, as long as it's still showing time to cross.
I didn't know why they needed to change it, so it's been pretty clear. It seemed to be working before.
Those are just some of the new laws that will start to take effect on January 1st. You can find full information on all of California's new laws on the state legislature website. In Studio City, I'm Lori Perez, KCAL 9 News.
And here are some other new laws that will hit the books Monday. You can now be fined $20 for not buckling up on a commercial bus. If you drive a gas or diesel car, you'll have to pay a fee to help pay for road repairs. That'll be between $25 and $125 per year. A landlord can face civil penalties for threatening to report a renter to immigration officials. And it will be illegal for employers to ask how much money you made at your last job. In 2017, the Supreme Court went nuclear. A political legend overcame serious health issues to cast a memorable vote. And gun control talks ramped up after some of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. Mola Lenghi takes a look at the year in politics.
Swear. I, Neil M. Gorsuch, do solemnly swear.
Conservative Neil Gorsuch became a Supreme Court justice following a bitter Senate battle. Republicans used the so-called nuclear option. They changed the rules so that the Senate needed only a simple majority for confirmation. The GOP's battle to repeal and replace Obamacare died on the Senate floor in July.
This is a disappointment.
Arizona's John McCain, who had revealed he had a brain tumor earlier that month, was one of the Republicans whose thumbs down sank the bill. Another effort in September also failed. Republicans scored a legislative win on taxes, passing a $1.5 trillion tax overhaul package that President Trump signed into law. And Congress managed to avoid a government shutdown with a temporary spending measure that pushes the most contentious issues into the new year.
President Trump's decision to end DACA in September triggered protests across the country. The action puts the futures of undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children into doubt. A year that began with women's marches around the country to protest Donald Trump's presidency ended with women coming forward with sexual harassment allegations against Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, who went on to lose the close race to Democrat Doug Jones.
Thank you!
Sexual harassment accusations also forced Democratic Senator Al Franken and Democratic Congressman John Conyers, among others, to step down. Republican Senators Jeff Flake of Arizona and Bob Corker of Tennessee both became harsh critics of the president after announcing they won't seek re-election.
The president has great difficulty with the truth.
And House Majority Whip Steve Scalise made a triumphant return to the Capitol in September.
You have no idea how great this feels to be back here at work in the People's House.
The Louisiana congressman was critically wounded when a gunman opened fire at a Republican baseball practice in June, reigniting the fight over gun control. Mola Lenghi, Washington.
Some words and phrases of 2017 are just so played out. Lake Superior State University has released its hit list. The university says that number one, the Trump-era term fake news. Trump's Twitter typo kafev is another one. Also on the list, let me ask you this. Nothing burger, dish, let that sink in, and impactful. This is officially known as the school's 43rd annual list of words banished from the Queen's English or misuse, overuse, and general uselessness. Still ahead here at 9.
It really is just a humbling experience. It puts everything in perspective. It puts life in perspective.
A secret grove of giant trees in Northern California has become a social media sensation. But now the health of these trees is under threat. What's being done to protect them? And the Chargers took care of business against the Raiders, but did they make the playoffs? Jill Arrington breaks down which teams did make it, coming up in sports.
Welcome back to sports, and we start with the Chargers, who were hoping to make the playoffs for the first time since 2013. And we're going to have a lot more NFL action coming up on Sports Central. I'll tell you all the guys who made it in and out.
All right, thanks so much, Jill. Turning now to weather. Amber, you are tracking the temperatures for us right now. How are things for the folks who are out in Pasadena waiting for those floats tomorrow morning?
All right, so temperatures continue to drop as we speak into the weekend. Peter, back to you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Amber. California is home to some of the largest trees in the world, but now a secret grove is under threat. You might be able to guess why. Here's a hint, social media. What's being done to protect this sacred place from an influx of visitors.
This is Master Sergeant Victor Lemus from Garden Grove, California, and stationed in Camp Arif John, Kuwait for Operation Spartan Shield. Just wanted to say happy holidays to my family, especially my mother. Merry Christmas.
Some of the oldest trees on the planet sit in Northern California. Park rangers would rather their location be kept a secret, but social media is changing all that. Here's John Blackstone.
What a place to work.
Yeah, it's not a bad office setting.
Entering the redwood forest is like stepping back in time. Among all the towering trees, the exact location of the tallest, named the Grove of Titans, has long been kept secret to help preserve them.
The early management philosophy was, we're not going to tell people. We're still not telling people, but for a long time that worked.
Brett Silver has agreed to lead me to the Titans. He's acting superintendent for Redwood National and State Parks, home to some of the largest trees in the world.
So this is not an official state park trail anymore. No, this is one of the trails that visitors have created by searching for some of the trees in Grove of the Titans.
A few years ago, someone posted the GPS coordinates of the Titans on social media. Images like this lured thousands of tourists to the area in search of the secret grove. They crisscrossed the park, creating unofficial trails known as social trails.
And sort of calling it the Grove of the Titans, a secret grove, that just enhanced the hunt. Yeah, it piqued people's interest. People got kind of, I think, intrigued into like the big tree hunt, almost like trophy hunters.
And like trophy hunters, people posed with the Titans, sharing them online as proof of their conquest.
You can see the kind of steps leading higher and higher so they can get that perfect picture.
Forest ecologist Lathrop Leonard studies the damage done by foot traffic. Along with destroying native plants, the soil compaction caused by standing next to a redwood harms the roots.
The tree is so tall, so enormous, hard to believe that, a few people hanging around down here is going to do it harm.
Most of the roots of a redwood tree are in the first 3 feet or so. Everything they need are up right near the surface. And it kills the small roots where nutrients are taken up into the tree to help the tree grow. So you can see the wear where someone's been putting their hand or a foot. And there's another piece where they've been stepping on.
Broken bark also leaves the redwoods vulnerable to insects and disease. And while some live 2,000 years, more than 95% of all California's redwoods have been lost.
Cutting their way into trees that may be as old as our civilization.
The logging industry followed the gold rush into California, decimating the redwoods. Now, the Redwood Parks Conservancy is raising money to protect the Titans.
You walk into an old growth grove, it really is just a humbling experience. It puts everything in perspective. It puts life in perspective.
$1.4 million is needed to build raised walkways that would allow for selfies without endangering the health of the trees. The Park Service says it's likely a 3-year project. In the meantime,
I know it's kind of a reach. People go, you're going to ask people to stay on trail? Yes, because that's our only defense right now.
By staying on the trails, visitors can still see the forest and save the trees. John Blackstone, Crescent City, California.
Next, get ready to raise a glass. It's not just for New Year's, another reason to pop some bubbly tonight. Well, get ready to raise your glass, not only because it's New Year's Eve, but today is also National Champagne Day. Some are also celebrating on social media using the hashtag National Champagne Day, of course. Not everything is sparkly. That term is legally protected. It must come from France to be called champagne. Next at 10.
Coming up, we're celebrating the new year. We'll take you to Grand Park in a live report.
I'm Greg Mills in Pasadena. She's from North Carolina, and it's her bucket list. Anyhow, it's Pasadena because of the Rose Parade. And these folks are camping out here. Their story coming up in just a minute.
Very cool. Those stories and more when Andrea Fujii joins me next for KCAL 9 News at 10.